Have you ever wondered why you're always behind the eight ball when it comes to having more month at the end of your money than money at the end of your month? You know, the reality of it is all of us have seen that happen, that we're not prepared for the economic downturn, the recession, and the inflation that we are currently seeing. So this is a timely talk because today, in continuing this Wealth Master series, I want to build on the one thing and help you understand the realities that you're facing, the obstacles that you may not see that are keeping you from building the freedom that you want in your life or the financial stability you want in your life. I want you to see those so you can then begin to, once you realize where they are, once you realize where the landmines are, you can walk through the field and get to the other side of the desert and build what you need to build so that you can have a well of water that overflows with financial stability. That water is your lifeblood. That water is the thing that allows you to survive through these times. But you can't get there because you're being blown to smithereens by stepping on all these landmines that you don't know are there. And those are the things that are actually the reasons that no matter how hard you work, you cannot seem to dig yourself out of the hole that you're in. And we talked about some of them. You know, we've talked about debt. We've talked about insurmountable mental obstacles that you need to attack from within. We've talked about those, but now we need to talk about the ways that you earn money really determine not how much time you put in, not how much you charge per hour, but the ways that you earn money really determine what your outcome is going to be in life. And so, as much as I can get done in this little bit of time, I'm going to give you an overview of what I believe creates financial stability in 2023 and beyond for you and your family. Welcome back to the Rob Review, everybody. I'm happy you're here. I'm Robert Morris, your friend in success. If you don't know this by now, go back on YouTube and watch the Rob Reviews from the beginning. You'll see that I'm here for one purpose and one purpose only. I don't care what your religious belief is. I'm not trying to push mine on you, but I pray every time that I step through this threshold and come up here to talk to you folks, because I don't take the fact that there are people out there that are listening to what I'm saying and they're going to literally act and build a lifestyle for their family based upon the words that come out of my mouth here. I don't do this for fun or for showboating or whatever the heck. You know, eventually I do plan on building some kind of business around it, but what this is about right now is giving you the content that you need or the belief that you're looking for to tell you that you can change your life. I am a walking testament to that. Some of you don't know me, and no, I don't have everything I want right now, and I probably will always be achieving, because success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. So even when I have the mansion and I have the beach home and I have the jet and all that stuff, I'm still going to be looking for more. Not because I want more, but because that's what you grow into as a person that has to continually progress. That's what success is. It's an addiction of the positive magnitude of growing yourself. Now, therefore, what I'm trying to, I shouldn't say therefore, I should say hereby I'm here to bring before you every single time I talk on the Rob Review the things that I have done that worked. And every time I get some more stuff that works, I give you some more stuff. Or I go and I research, read, and interview to give you some stuff that worked for other people. I am, regardless of how you see my lifestyle, a walking testament to success simply because I grew up in a house where I was given everything. I walked away from that and threw it all away. I threw my life down the drain, and then I pulled it back up from the drain. And now I do these talks and I teach people how to grow their business through video. And my wife and I are building the life that we want. And the fact that I even have an incredible wife and a daughter and all this, like, that is success to me, right? And the side note of the fact that financially I'm stable gives me the peace of mind to both sleep at night soundly and get up here and talk to you folks about the realities of the fact that your future can change, because I wasn't always that way. I used to be in massive debt, literally work crazy hours. I work a lot now, but I work for myself. I work for a family business. I'm building something every day. I used to be building somebody else's dream every day, killing myself. I remember times where I would do a 12-hour shift, and then somebody would come up to me and say, "Hey man, I want you to take my overtime and pay me $50 in cash or $100 in cash to take their 4 hours or 8 hours of overtime." And so I'd go out and sleep in the car for 30, 45 minutes, walk back into the plant, probably way too tired to be driving a massive piece of machinery around, but oh well, everybody else was doing it, and work another 4 or 8 hours. And then 16 to 20 hours later, go home and sleep for 4 hours and come right back in to do my shift. And I did that for a week? No. Did I do it for a month? No. I did it for a year, 2 years of my life. And then after that, did I go and get a cushy, job? No. After that, I threw that away because I wanted a better life for myself, and still found myself working for less money, doing harder work, laying sod and all those other things, getting up at 5 in the morning, driving to where I had to go to work, working all day till the sun don't shine no more, cleaning out the truck, getting the crew ready for the next day, going back home, sleeping for a couple hours, and coming right back. I'm telling you all that. I don't know why I'm telling you all that. I guess it's just coming out because I prayed before I came on here just to give me something to say. I hope my goal when I get up here every time, I have a goal, and today's goal is to get you to understand what financial stability looks like in this century, in this time we live in. And I can't do that in 30 minutes, but I can give you an overview. But I also always have a goal of just let me reach one person. And so I think somebody out there needed to hear that, first of all, the work you're doing right now is not going to kill you. I can promise you, because I have done it, you are going to pass out from exhaustion before you die. It is an inevitable reality, so do not worry about that. You will pass out from sickness, exhaustion, or lack of eating before you die from working too hard. So for anybody that was worried about that's just the realities of what will happen. It's happened to me, and I know that it's happened to plenty of other people. So you can always push yourself for the dream, but make sure you're pushing yourself for your dream and not somebody else's. And I think that's what the big thing about it is. It's like too many people spend their life not having a dream for themselves. And so that's where the ideas of poverty and I feel stuck come from. So let's get into today's real understanding of financial stability. Okay, well, how do you have financial stability in a world that is basically characterized by instability. It's difficult because you have to have flexibility in your income. How do you have flexibility in your income? Well, it's not just about diversity. It's about being able to pivot towards what is the right thing to do at a moment's notice. And the issue there is that not all small businesses can do that, and especially people that work and are very, very, very tight on their fixed income because of inflation. And even before inflation, it was tight, and so now it's even more tight, or you're having to go get payday loans to cover what you don't have. You can't pivot. You can't be flexible. You don't have enough. And so we got to start there. If your job isn't paying you enough, the answer is not always to go out and get another job. However, like I talked about in a Rob review before this one, when we started this whole series and we talked about the realities of debt, if the debt is crushing you, I suggest, or at least if it was me, I would get as many jobs as I could just to get out of debt. Like, I know that you can go out and have 2 full-time jobs and a part-time job, no questions about it. You just won't sleep a lot to get out of debt if you need to. But if you're not in crushing amounts of out-of-control debt, I don't think the answer is always in the extra job. I think the answer is in figuring out how to make your money work for you. And there's only a couple of ways to do that, folks. There's either stay in the job and figure out how to spend less so you can begin to compile more and learn how to invest your money in the stock market, in real estate, in currency, in gold. Mostly, though, as far as income building goes, you're not going to do any better than real estate or the stock market. You know, my wife says real estate is better. I say the stock market is better. We'll argue that until the day they put us in the ground. But you got to learn it first, and you got to have something to work with. You got to have capital. So that's one area. Or you can go into the other area. What's the other area? That would be the area of building a business. And that's what I want to talk about today, because the investing thing for the master plan is coming down the road. I don't want to throw that out yet. And we can't talk too much about building a business in the next 20 minutes, but there's 3 ways to earn money in life. There's getting paid as a reaction to the time you put in. So that's a job. And those of you that thought that you were getting promoted when you got put on salary and you realized that that was a crock, understand that hourly, if you're going to be paid, is the way to go. So there's the job, the hourly, and even if you are a contractor or a person who is a consultant for somebody, you still get paid by the hour. I still consider it that you have a job. You just may have a job with a little bit more freedom. So that's one way to earn. Then there's a second way. The second way is to build a business, and build a business that allows you to have a little bit of freedom, but also you have to be there. Yeah, it's the small business idea to the medium-sized business. And the problems with that are that most small businesses never build outside of the $500,000 revenue mark, which means that they've pretty much boxed themselves into, they may have a little bit more time freedom, they may have a little bit more flexibility in their income, but they have a job that they just work for their business instead of somebody else. The third way is business, but it's big business. It's have y'all ever seen the quadrant? And I'll put a picture of it up here, okay? This is the cash flow quadrant. You know, you got the E for employee, you got the I for investor, which we're going to talk about later. You got the B for big business and the S for self-employed. So employee, job, small business, self-employed, same deal. Or the big business. That's where you build a giant enterprise or you build a system. Now this is where it gets interesting, because with systems you can be flexible. With systems you can have the ability to pivot to meet the current economic needs. What is a system? A system is something such as, let's look at what Kiyosaki has, right? Kiyosaki has a system. He has the book income, he has board games, and he has education income, where he teaches webinars, all kinds of stuff. And he makes money not from being present and teaching all the time, but from a constant flow of customers into his system. And that system connects them with the content they need. And the content is bought. And then it provides them with income. When I look at a person like Kiyosaki, many of you know him, that's why I'm using him as an example. I look at how his career started and what he has done and see how I could do the same thing and see, is it mirrorable? And it is. And the reality is that there's tons of expert businesses like that. You don't have to be a Kiyosaki. You don't have to write a book. However, it wouldn't be that difficult to do in today's world, because you can literally dictate the whole thing. I could sit here and do a 3-hour seminar and turn that into a book if I wanted to. However, you just got to pick the right expertise. You know, not everybody's a Kiyosaki, but some people know more about real estate. Some people know more about the stock market. I know a guy specifically that has built a grand business, a system of a business that he can now hand down to his children, not because he intended to do it, but because he got great at the stock market, then was asked by other people, how do you do that? And then realized that there were more and more people that could be helped, and then built a system through that, a system in which he did insert himself, but could also now remove himself and still have the income. Because of the way that we have technology now, you can record yourself teaching things and not always need to be present when you're being paid to teach them. So the idea here is to look at this cash flow quadrant and see where you're at and say, okay, is where I'm at going to provide for me the availability to get enough capital to where I can get to a place to have stability? And where are the places where you have stability? They're either in the I quadrant or the B quadrant. You don't have stability, no matter how much you want to believe you do, in the E quadrant or the S quadrant. And here's why. The E quadrant, you are dependent upon somebody else hiring you. The S quadrant, you are also dependent upon somebody else hiring you. However, you do have the ability to circumvent whether you get hired by X or Y, because your product or service can be an irreplaceable service for them. But you still have to make sure that they need your service in order to get that income. And what do I mean by that? Let's look at some of the businesses, self-employed related, that are out there right now that may find themselves without clients down the road. There's multiple of them, right? Because their product or service is being changed rapidly by the economy moving into a more flexible online world. However, those same self-employed people can usually carve out a niche for themselves in a local market or a statewide market and still make a decent income. It's just a question of you as the person, you as a self-employed person, is that income enough for you? Does that provide the flexibility you want? Because ultimately, financial stability is maybe 60% about what you want in your life and not just about whether you have it as a whole or not. I mean, from 50% of it is, because it can't be changed from the fact that it is, either you have the ability to live without it for a while, you have stacks of cash that you can, reserves that you can pull from, you have the ability to pivot your income so you don't lose if something changes. That's stability. That your income is stable regardless of what happens. But it's still 60% of that is what is stable to you, meaning, is it enough to provide for the lifestyle you want? Is the lifestyle you want the lifestyle you want? Is the lifestyle you currently have what you want? Do you want to switch that up? That is always going to be determined by you. But what I'm saying here is take a good, long, hard look at where you're at. Take a good, long, hard look at what happened during COVID and the changes thereafter. And if you've found yourself in a stressful position because of those things, that is your wake-up call to reflect on this and see if you can change it. Because some of you self-employed people can build a system out from your self-employment. Some of you are experts in certain things or have products that you can build a system out with. What do I mean by that? Maybe some of your products don't need to just be sold the way they're currently being sold. Maybe you can build an online system for them being sold. Maybe you can pull in affiliates or distributors and build out a network of them. Because once you do that, you're empowering somebody else to have their economic situation status improved by your product or your service. And when you do that, those people are not going to want to starve. So they're going to make sure they're successful, which in turn makes you successful. That's why, whether you like the word or not, network marketing is a thing that is growing by leaps and bounds in our economy. I've been studying it recently and I see the growth. Certain companies are not changing with the times and they're falling off. And other companies are coming up because they see that the distribution network of a network marketing model paired with their product or service that helps people in some shape or form really does work. And it builds a system of harmony that enables the self-employed person to then become a big business person. And in that way, you have stability. Okay? So, got about 3 minutes left. I want to begin to kind of reel it in here and just say, look, reflect, really think. The realities of what you have are not always going to be the realities of what will be. So you want to make sure that as you move into the future, you really pay attention. Is my financial status where it is right now? Is it going to stay that way? Or was it affected by the changes of the economy during COVID? And am I just kind of resting on my laurels and fear and not really being realistic with myself and saying I need to change? I don't want to stay where I am. Or maybe where I am is working, but I need to put into practice some of these master wealth plan principles and begin to build myself into the investor quadrant. I'll see y'all on the next one, guys. I'm building out some really cool stuff, and I just want just want y'all to stay tuned with me as we finish out this series. We're going to continue this on into Christmas. And then in the new year, we're going to really do some amazing things with this financial stability and really hitting home with that. Have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one.